Okay, so good morning, everyone. So let us continue our discussion on SRE. So today is site reliability engineering, right? SRE, we call it site reliability engineering. It's day 2 session. And today the date is 18th of April 2024, right? And the timing is 9:03 a.m. IST. So guys, we started this SRE in the last week, right? Like last Sunday we started it, and we started with a day 1 session. And the last Sunday we had the session. So the first day, like what we did basically, like we try to understand about what exactly SRE is all about, right? And usually what happened in the industry, right? We have various different, DevOps jobs which are available. So it means that a lot of DevOps jobs are segregated into many different like kind of scopes actually. You will say that some engineers will be called as a DevOps, some engineers will be called as a DevSecOps, and some engineers are called SRE. So majorly you will see in the industry that these are the three categories of work which is going on, right? And people do have little confusion on like what are these three differences, right? So in the last session, like we had discussed about the roles and responsibilities of DevOps, DevSecOps, and SRE. So that is what we had discussed, right? And we understood in a very high level that what is the roles and responsibilities of DevOps, and even like your DevSecOps and even your SRE. So and then I mentioned that SRE is nothing but it's a combination of all these things. If you so SRE means it is a monitoring system, no doubt. This is the actual definition. But you should never think that okay, if I learn only monitoring system, I'll become a SRE. No, you have to have a very good knowledge on DevOps, implementation of DevOps. It means that implementing the CI/CD pipelining, okay, and understanding about all kind of like technology like Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible, Jenkins. So once you are aware and once you have a good knowledge on that, and once and you learn, try to learn the monitoring systems, then only be called as an SRE. Clear. So this is what we had discussed in the last session, and we use some metrics actually. So mean time to recover, mean time to failure. So we will be discussing further more on this metrics today. So because like when you come across with a SRE, right, you will come across with a lot of metrics, dashboard, like many things actually. So yeah. So guys, as I said earlier, like please, like you can mute yourself and you can ask any questions. Hi, good morning, Uday. So please mute yourself, Uday. If you have any questions, then only unmute it. Right? Sure. Thank you. Okay. So we had discussed about some of the things, guys, in the last session. So what we are going to do today. So we will continue from where we had left, right? So we just left with this understanding on what exactly the SR is all about. So and also the few metrics actually. Okay. So now So guys, now I will not get into real into SRE because right, what I got a feedback from the last 1 week, right? Many of the people they pinged me actually, and they were asking me about like, sir, what is the flow to learn DevOps? Like, and I'm very much confused which topic or which tool I have to first pick and what I have to do, or else. They even asked me some of the questions, right? Like, what exactly we need a prerequisite to learn SRE, right? Or many of the non-technical people, guys, they called me and they asked me about this actually. So what I would take some time now, and I just give you the flow so that you'll be able to understand, okay, what you need to do if you want to learn SRE. So before that, what do you have to learn first actually? So it would be like more, it will be kind of this requirement is only for the people who are from the non-technical background or who are very new to DevOps or who are learning DevOps or who want to get into DevOps. For them, so whatever I'll be mentioning now, like that will be useful for them. Okay. So now, so this is the note for non-technical background people. Non-technical means, I mean, like people who are very new to this domain, like DevOps domain, right? So for them, this is what it is. For some of you who already knew it, okay, this would be okay. You can keep this section actually. Okay. So like, see what happened, right? Usually a lot of people, what they do, right? Whenever they come with into this DevOps, right? Like, Firstly, they don't understand about the systems. They don't understand about the terminologies, right? They will be very much confused actually. So they'll not be able to grasp anything at the very initial stage, right? So what I would suggest for them is that actually that please make a note of all kind of terminologies whichever comes to you actually. See, for example, for myself, like I came into this IT job like 10 years back actually. And when I get onto into this IT job, right, like everything was looking strange to me because I'm from a mechanical background. I did my B in mechanical engineering. Later, I did MTech in computer science engineering. Okay, so when I did my mechanical engineering, there was nothing like we didn't have a scope to learn much into the software or into the computers and everything, right? So like when I got into this IT world, right, like I came across with lot of terminologies. Say for example, I even didn't know what is a server actually. I didn't know what is a server. Say for example, like when I was trying to learn it, like I used to open this, like see, if you open the right click and you just open in the terminal, this is your PowerShell. And I was just asking what is this black screen is all about and what is this thing. So I learned from the very scratch actually. Means that actually I didn't know about what is this black screen or it's a shell, right? And even like I didn't know about what exactly server, what exactly an operating system is all about. Like it was something like that where you don't know anything actually. So I came from that level actually. So 10 years back. So even for any kind of a profession, you are a non-technical fellow or you are newly entering into it, it is always important that guys, you need to understand a lot of terminologies which come across within this DevOps and even the cloud technology also. So please make a note of all kind of a terminologies. That would I would suggest actually. Make a note of all terminologies and just Google it out, what exactly the term is all about. Say, for example, like shell, what is a shell? What is an operating system? What is, terminal, right? What is server? What is application server? What is a database server? What is application server? You will come across like n number of different terminologies. You have to make actually. That is very important and try to, do some kind of a homework to make sure that you understand about the terminologies. Okay, so you'll not find any institute or anywhere where they're going to teach you from very scratch. Actually, no one is interested now to teach anybody from the very scratch. They expect that whoever the candidate, from whichever background he comes, he might come from the BSc, he might come from the electronics, or he might come from the computer background, or he might really come from the BCom background, any other background, right? They expect that you should do some homework before you come to learn on DevOps and cloud technology. Correct? So that is what it is. And the second important is actually that guys, now there are n number of videos are available in the internet or even in the YouTube, and a lot of people buy videos, they attend, like a lot of trainings and a lot of different institutes and everywhere, right? People are learning through the online like method, they learn it, or some people go and offlinely they attend in the class. So it is always that actually whenever you attend the class, whenever you listen to them, okay, please make your own notes. That is one thing. So please make notes actually. Please make notes of yourself. So this is very important, guys. Why? Because like some people don't make the notes or they don't have their own notes and they struggle to understand some concept. So always better that you make a note of something which you're learning. That is one thing. Of course, like when I am doing a class, every class, right? I keep a note of everything. I'll be keep noting down. That's the best practice in the class, right? When you explain something, I'm also writing a notes. Even you should also have a notes of your own, because tomorrow if you're referring something, you can't refer to my notes or you can't refer to some other notes, other people notes. It's your notes which you have to refer by your own actually. So that is one important thing which you have to make sure. Which you have to make sure that you need to always make a note of it. And very important, which I'm going to tell you now is that, guys, that whenever, see, some people say that, Rajesh, your videos are very long, lengthy. It is 1.5 hours, 2 hours. I can't study it. So that is a very, like, a lot of people have told me that. I said that, please don't worry about that. Don't worry the length of the video. Don't worry the content, what you're teaching so much. Please try to understand that actually break out those videos into half of an hour. And please study half an hour first. Give a break of 15-20 minutes. Again, go through the complete half an hour. Understand it. Again, go through it like that. Say, for example, if you, like, I'll go to the Google or I'll go to the YouTube. Just see. So I'll go to my YouTube channel. And like I'll go to my channel. So most of you already know my channel, right? Rajesh-Devops. If you go through this, this is my channel is all about, guys. right? And this is the channel, and these are the videos, all videos we're having. You could see that I've uploaded up to 182 videos, complete videos. If you go to the playlist, you will see that there are many playlists are available, and each and every playlist, there are a lot of videos I have added it in each and every playlist. So I started recording from the Docker like 1.5 or 2 years back. Then we started with the Kubernetes 21 videos. But if you go through all the videos, say for example, recently I uploaded advanced Linux shell scripting videos, all 21 videos. So if you see the number of hours, it is too much actually. It's 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 1 hour 42 minutes. Don't get worried. Don't get scared by looking into the number of hours. Always have to understand, okay, whatever I learn effectively, I have to learn effectively a half-an-hour video. And then again, give a pause, again, learn half-an-hour video, like that. So that is a habit you need to make sure that you need to learn effectively the whole video. You have to go through it. So, and one important thing is, guys, actually that now I would say one important thing. A lot of people ask me one question, sir, like you said about your videos, all these videos. So we'll go through a playlist, right? This is all videos you are having, sir. Whatever the playlist is there. Sir, shall I go through all these videos in 3-4 months? Get ready. Can I apply for a job? Will I get a job? That is what a lot of people have asked me. I will say that if you think in that way, guys, then you are in a wrong occupation. It's your wrong goals. You cannot go through all the videos, or else if you go through the videos, you cannot say that actually I will get a job. Actually, you will not get a job like that if you are going through only through the videos. Actually, what you have to do is you have to practice a lot. Actually, that is important. No, it means that just going through the videos, understanding concept will not achieve your goal, guys. Actually, so if that was the case, right, I would have not even put so much effort to upload a lot of videos. I would have made directly to place you in a job, actually, right? So that is not the fact, actually. And like this is 2024, and like already 2023 had a very bad phase in IT world, because a lot of like downtime was there, and the economy was going down, and a lot of recessions and even layoff also happened like that, actually. So things are not good, actually. Even this year also, like things is not till not good up to now, actually. And it's suspected that actually it will not be good even this entire year. So 2024 is going to become very tough for all the IT professionals who want to, or the people who want to enter into the IT world, actually. So you need to practice a lot, guys. Actually, you need to practice a lot. So what you have to make is actually that whenever you are learning anything, that, guys, first what you have to do, that you need to you need to stretch, or you need to watch minimum 30 minutes video, digest the concept, and proceed with further uh like videos, actually. It means that, as I said earlier, like you have to digest everything, guys. You need to understand the whole concept, whatever has been taught in the video. And that is one thing. And always what happened, right, guys, whenever I would say that whenever you watch a video, you need to practice a lot, actually. So it means that whenever you're watching the video, that in my sessions or in my videos, right, I take it everything parallelly. So I'll be explaining the concepts, I'll be writing a notes, and also I'll be doing practicals simultaneously. All the three things I'll be doing together in a video. You watch any video, or some of you have been like attended my videos, attended my sessions, like you have seen that, right? So what you need to do, that actually you have to do the same thing. But one thing you shouldn't do it, like for example, something like Rajesh is installing Jenkins. Okay, let me pause his videos. Okay, Rajesh is executing this sudo apt-get install -y. Okay, let me do this. Don't do that copy work, actually. So if you're trying to replicate the same thing, whatever I'm doing, no, you are not learning. You are just like copying. You're just by arting. So don't do that. So many people do that, actually. Even in today also they do that, actually. They pause the video, there's something they see, they pause the video, they do the same thing as I'm doing, actually, which will not fetch you anything, guys. So what you have to do, that you have to at a stretch go through the video completely, right? Or else segregate into half of an hour, learn everything conceptually. Again, if you are having doubt, please visit again, go through the video again fully, try to understand the whole thing, and now you close that video and now you start doing practical by your own. Yeah, of course, notes you can make it down. What are the notes you are writing when you're watching that 1.5 hour video, right? Make a note of it and try to see your notes and then you try to do practicals. That is fine. That is agreeable. Okay, you need, suppose like you don't know, you have forgotten the step. You write it down the steps. Okay, sudo apt get install -y, sudo apt get install python 3 -y. Okay, Rajesh is executing some commands, so let me note it down. Or else whoever, whichever video which you watch, they would have mentioned about what steps they're executing. Or you can make the document on that and you can see the document and you can do it. That is fine. But don't do pause the videos and no copy, pause the videos, see whatever I'm doing. So then you're not learning, guys. Then you are just copying it. Okay. So make sure that that is always there. Right. And then now, what are the other things you have to do? See, for example, like whenever any person who is a non-technical guy who doesn't know anything on DevOps, I would suggest that first go through the DevOps foundation session. So in my channel, guys, if you see it, actually, I have already recorded some 5 videos. There are DevOps foundation sessions are there. There are 5 videos are there. So I would request go through all these 5 videos. Try to complete these 5 videos in 1 week. Complete 5 videos in 1 week. That should be your target, actually. A lot of people says, guys, actually, they say that actually, Rajesh, I would ask you that how many of you are interested to get into the DevOps and cloud work? I would ask is always the same question, that how many are interested or how many want to get into this DevOps? So like, and how much time it will take, right? So they'll say that, sir, 3-4 months it will take. Yeah, of course it will take 3-4 months. But if you are making the statement that no, I want to get into the DevOps and cloud work, then I think, guys, you are in the wrong thought, actually. So it means that actually you are in the wrong position. So it is not like that I need to try a job or to get a job. You need to think over that. You have to survive in that job. So even, like I would always make one statement that getting a DevOps job is very easy, or cracking your DevOps interview is very easy than surviving. You would have seen in the past, last year also, I have seen many people. Okay, you have seen that many people have got laid off within few months. Right? It means that after joining into the DevOps or into cloud work, many people have laid off within few months, within 2-3 months, or within 6 months itself, they have been laid off. Because that, what happened, right? When it comes to the technical proficiency, they're not able to match with their expectation. They will give certain tasks to you when you join it, and they'll give you some time to work on it. If you're not well competent or well aware to do the task, right, they will notice your work, and they will take up a decision to remove you or lay off you. This has happened to many people actually in the last year. So now it is very much competitive, guys, in the industries. It means that actually you have to individually work in the companies. That is one thing, with very less, with very less support and guidance. So if they will even watch, if you're taking too much of guidance and help from someone, right, they will notice even that also. So to many of my friends, it has happened like that, or even around me, it has happened like that. So like, it is always best that actually you put more effort in learning in a good manner, like rather making yourself to hurry to get into a job, actually. So don't make that, actually. So getting a job is very easy than the surviving. So what should be your motto, or what should be your goals, is that actually once I get into the job, right, I need to minimum survive 5-6 years into the DevOps and cloud. For that, what I have to do, that should be a thought process. If you feel like actually I can work, I can learn in 2-3 months, I can go through all the videos, learn everything and get into a job, means then you are in a wrong position, guys. Correct. So do you agree with this statement, guys? Sneha, Dipali, Mukesh, Karthik, do you agree with this statement?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes.
please don't think in that actually while going only watching the videos I will learn something. No, you have to practice a lot. If you learn in something like a 50 hours video, like you need to practice minimum 100 or 120 hours of content, so that you will digest the whole thing, so that you will not suffer when you get into the job. That is the ideal thing which we need to always think about, that I should not suffer when I am working at a job base. See, if that would have been so easy, right? Or if you feel like, okay, I can learn within 2-3 months everything, right? So I would say that better don't get into this profession. Forget about this. Okay, now election is coming. Go and take the MP ticket. Fight for the MP election. Get some road contract, some good contracts. Try to earn some crores of money. That I would suggest, rather than saying that get into this profession. Okay, so don't do that actually. Okay, so DevOps foundation sessions. So guys, this is only for the non-technical guys or else non-technical background, or this is for the people who doesn't know anything on DevOps. For them, I'm so talking. Many of you are, I already know that you are into DevOps and all this. You can skip all these things, whatever I'm saying. Okay, so I would rather give this link into my this one DevOps foundation session. Anyhow, if some of you are watching these videos, right, you will know. So
गाड़ी पेट्रोल बनाने का है.
Guys, please mute yourself. Sayed, everyone. That's a humble request from my end. Okay. So this is the link actually, guys. You to get into it. So that is one thing, very important. Now, the second is that guys actually like for the DevOps, like I have added a lot of videos actually. You know that starting from the Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible, right? You know that I have been added a lot of videos. So go, Sayed, please mute yourself, Sayed. So I have a lot of videos have been added into the DevOps, starting from the Docker to the Kubernetes, Ansible, Terraform. You know, like these days I've even started adding the advanced Terraform also. So I'll be continuing to add many more videos in our upcoming days. So you can see that I've been adding. Right now, 25 videos are there. So you can go through all these videos actually. Okay, now I'll not be telling like what are the things which you need to learn in DevOps. I will tell later. But right now you have to understand that all the DevOps videos are uploaded in my channel. You can go through it. After that, very important guys, some of them says that actually, hey man, you know one thing, if you put something like a cloud in your resume, you will get a job. But yeah, that statement is actually correct, because right nowadays everywhere cloud is most used, because most of their customers products or applications runs in the cloud environment, and a lot of system manageability and everything works in the cloud. So you need to have some good knowledge or good amount of knowledge in the cloud actually. So cloud you need to learn guys actually, which is very important. You can learn any cloud, right, either Azure or AWS or GCP. But right now in the market the boom is more on Azure, so you try to learn first Azure and then try to learn AWS. But some people say that, okay sir, I have already know about the AWS, should I learn Azure? Yeah, you have to learn Azure. Some people say that I know about the Azure, do I have to learn AWS? Yeah, please learn AWS, because right nowadays they're asking the multi-cloud knowledge. So going forward, in 2024 itself, the trend has started that they are looking for a candidate who has a multi-cloud knowledge. Even they're expecting you to know even the GCP also, Google Cloud Platform. Right. So please always make sure that you try to learn at least minimum two clouds, which is nothing but Azure and AWS. Azure is having more job requirement than the AWS right now, because most of the companies are opting for Azure cloud, and they are trying to do a lot of migration activity into the Azure cloud. So that's what I would suggest, that Azure is a best way to learn. Like first learn any one cloud effectively and then try to learn the other cloud. Don't mix it. Don't learn half of thing and then again jump into some other cloud. So don't do that. First learn Azure completely and AWS later. So what I've did, right, guys, in my channel, like I have uploaded the AWS videos, 19 videos are there. I'm yet to continue. I have to continue. I will be doing from this week onwards. So I'll be adding videos on the AWS. If some of you are interested, let me know. I will add you into the other group where you can attend the AWS class also. Clear? So that is one thing. And the third and the last important thing which you need to learn is about the Linux actually. For the SRE guys, DevOps Foundation session, Linux are very much mandatory at the very beginning. It means that some of you are very new to DevOps, right? I would suggest you to go through these videos and try to learn Linux very effectively. I have added two playlists. So one is a Linux Bash and shell scripting, which are 16 videos, and other is a Linux advanced Linux shell scripting. So I would suggest you to go through. If you ask me very clearly, sir, which one I have to go through the latest only which I uploaded. So advanced Linux shell scripting, I have added from the very scratch level. That is from what exactly an operating system is all about, like what exactly how Linux was evolved, and what is exactly a shell, how application works, what are the different layers we have in an operating system, right? And what exactly the commands are there, what is shell variables, different types of shells, shell scripting, advanced shell scripting, all those things have been added very well. So you can go through this and you can learn effectively. So this one, I would suggest that advanced Linux shell scripting, You need to finish by in next 30 days actually. 30 days you need to finish. This is what your goal should be. I need to complete. See, guys, I'm telling this for the guys who are completely. Some of you, I know that you know Linux very well. I'm not saying that you watch these videos. I'm not interested to. No, I'm not here there to no make sure that the views will get more on the videos. No, not like that. I'm just telling you that actually, if you are aware of it, you can just skip it actually, and you can learn other things. Whichever you know, you can skip it actually. Some of you know Linux. I would say that okay, please skip that. Don't. Some of you know cloud. I'll say please skip it actually, right? So this is what, guys, I thought that I will tell you. There are many other things are there which I want to discuss, but like already we have like covered around 30 minutes. I don't know to tell more on this. So once you learn the DevOps foundation sessions, please learn the Linux, advanced Linux shell scripting. So that is what the way you have to learn. And later you have to start learning the cloud technology. Once you finish the cloud technology learning, right, then you can parallelly learn the DevOps also. You can start the DevOps by learning initially from the containerization, and even in the like Docker, you have to learn, then you need to learn Kubernetes, and then you need to learn the Terraform. This is the series you need to learn actually. And then the Jenkins. Some people say that, sir, should I start with the Jenkins because Jenkins is a CI/CD pipeline where you'll come across with all these tools, because these tools you'll be using as a pipeline in the pipeline. Yes, you can do that way also. People will start learning first from the Jenkins. But many people have seen that they start learning from the container world, that is the Docker, and then they learn the orchestration, and then they learn the Terraform actually, right? So nowadays, as you many of you know that Azure DevOps and Terraform, these are the combination of these tools which have been heavily used in the industry. So please try to focus on this also. Terraform, Azure, and Azure DevOps. Azure DevOps. And there are multiple projects, guys, which are running in a, which are being executed in the organization, which they expect you to know Terraform, you to know Azure Cloud very well, and Azure DevOps, right? So this is what it is. And like there are many other tools are there. Like for example, Ansible is there. Yeah, you need to learn Ansible. So recently I attended like one of the interview like from the Standard Chartered Bank. Some of you have heard it actually. So that fellow, like he was asking more on Ansible itself. So he told me very clearly that Rajesh, our work is mostly on Ansible, and he started asking me a lot of things in Ansible actually. So I could make out that okay, like yeah, Ansible is the most used like configuration management tool in their project actually. So it depends. Sometimes what happened, right? They might ask some specific tool effectively and very like in a very in detail they want to know about it, because their work is on that tool only. So please be prepared for all this. And as I said earlier, guys, it is going to be tough for everyone, for me, for you, for everyone, right? Because that the competence is too high in 2024. They are very selective in taking any people. And the very important thing is actually nowadays actually that since a lot of people have been laid off, even they are in a queue to fetch a job. People who are entering in new into this DevOps, even they are into in a separate queue where they're fetching for the job. People want to switch over from their existing domain to the DevOps domain. Say, for example, a database administrator or the testing engineer or Q engineer, even they are more interested to get into DevOps and cloud because they want to get a high paid salaries. And they know that actually DevOps and cloud is the one which is reasonably giving good pay in the industry these days. Even they are also in the queue, even they are also learning. So it means that if there is any job requirement in any one company, right, where there's a post which has been opened now, right, there will be 10 to 20 applications for that one single post. So earlier, it was only two people who were applying for that post where they used to get an interview call. Now there are 20 or 30 or 50 like profiles comes for one position actually. So it means that the competition is very highly tough. That is one thing. And second is actually that you should really, like you should be in a position that you should be able to answer any kind of a question what it has been asked in an interview. And your resume should look very uniquely. They should shortlist your resume, because based on you the information what you have mentioned in your resume, and based on the project what you have mentioned in your resume, right, they will try to select your, or they're going to try to shortlist your resume. So please make sure that first the important thing when you is that actually you need to learn technically very well. You need to be excel in many tools actually, and then like prepare yourself well for your resumes. Okay, prepare well for your interview question answers. Interview question answers, never try to target when you're learning any concept. Suppose you say that, Rajesh, I want to learn advanced Linux shell scripting. Yeah, please learn. But what are the interview question answers? Don't try to ask that question at the very beginning. First, try to learn the concept very well. Automatically, at the end, once you finish the Linux shell scripting, learning everything, then you ask the question about, okay, wow, now what are the technical, what are the interview question answers which are most asked in the industries? Now, then you ask it. Now, already you know concepts very well. Then you can gauge yourself, your knowledge, right? By going through those question answers, you can gauge yourself where you are standing. Please don't ask this in between or like even at the very beginning. That's a very bad habit. A lot of people do that actually. They start asking you, sir, what is interview question answers? Yeah, that is also an important thing. I know that. But don't ask at the very beginning. Right, guys? So, guys, do you agree with all the statements, whatever I said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Great. Now, so this is what, guys, which I want to really talk. I thought that let me spend some time. I took 33 minutes to explain this, but anyhow, it was required actually. Fine. Now, so today's discussion, guys, what exactly we are going to discuss today? So, guys, today we are going to discuss, or we are going to further discuss about this SRE itself, right? Site reliability engineering, which started from in the last session, right? Now, so what we have to learn actually, see, guys, now SRE is all about something like a monitoring. We say that, okay, we need to have some kind of effective monitoring system, okay, so that we can we can find any faults, right? Any kind of issue comes into the system, right? Like we need to able to identify that actually. There are many issues are there, which you are aware that these issues are going to come when you work in the real time. Say, for example, like you have a database server, right? In the database server, you like database, what it does that it will be keep writing the data into the logs, and the logs are saved into the disk. Say, assume that you know that already, you know that, okay, there is one disk, 1 GB of disk is available now. Okay, it means that 99% of your disk space is filled. 1 GB is there. And you say that actually, sir, every day, per day, the database is going to write some 100 MB of the data into the logs, and which are stored in the disk actually. Now, obviously, you know that actually that within next 10 days, your disk is going to get full and your database will stop working, right? So it is nothing but it's a proactive response. It is going to happen in the upcoming days. So you need to be very much proactive to understand which are the issues which are going to come up, which you are aware, which are guaranteed that. So to make sure that you need to avoid all those issues which are coming up in our upcoming, in your upcoming time, but you need to avoid it. So you need to have your proactive responses. That's what in the last session I discussed about this. What is the proactive approach and what are the reactive approaches? So proactive is something which you are already aware. You know that, okay, this issue is going to come because, right? So you have to have a proactive approach for that. It means that you should already have a monitoring system which has been established for these proactives, right? And then you need to keep monitoring. Once that issue comes, you need to quickly work and you need to resolve that issue. Reactive approach is something that which you are not aware of. Some new issue which comes in. Suppose that your application is working. Suddenly the application stops. I mean, you don't know, okay, why it got stopped working or why it get failed. So what happened, right? What would be your approach as an SRE engineer that actually immediately you'll get into the system, you'll try to get into the system and trying to understand to the logs, like what are the failures, where exactly the failure happened, why it got failed. So you're going to do some kind of a tracing of the logs, and finally you'll arrive at the conclusion, okay, because of this reason, so and so reason, you understood that this application stopped working. Okay, fine. Now, what would be my reactive approach? It means how fast I'm going to fix the issue so that the system is going to come up. That should be a reactive approach, right? So, guys, whenever the SRE comes to the picture, monitors come to the picture, you are not really bothered about the deployment activity or what are the phases in the deployment, what tools are used. No, you are not bothered about that. You're only bothered about how much effective is my system, a monitoring system. That is what SRE would be like. He'll be concentrating on deployment of the application and all, making the application up and running and all. That is taken care of by the DevOps engineer or even DevOps SecOps engineer. DevSecOps and DevOps engineer, they will take care of their work of doing deployment. Now, what this SRE is going to do? Okay, he will have a monitoring system effectively. That's what we say, monitoring system, or with the keyword known as observability. Right? These are the keywords which are used as a part of the SRE, site reliability engineer. Now, what we are going to understand now. Now, So let us try to understand an architecture, guys. Let us try to understand the architecture. That means that suppose your company is building an application. The building is an application, or else it already has an application. Or suppose assume that my company, like I'm working in a Wipro company, we are building an application. And I need to come up with the architectural design, something like that. So, say for example, assume that you are building some e-commerce application, or else, okay, I always take e-commerce application. Let us say that, like, okay, you're building some application which is like a food delivery application. Okay, let us understand this food delivery. So what is food delivery applications, guys? You know very well that like we have our food delivery applications like Swiggy, Zomato, right, where you can order the food online. So once the food is ordered, right, so within that stipulated time, it will get delivered, right? So there is some kind of a application design where like uh, through this food delivery application, you can order a food and you will get the food, right? So that's what the food delivery application all about. And many organizations now that they are into it, like you have a application like Swiggy, Zomato, like Zepto. Like there are many applications are there where you can order the food online on it. So consider that like in your organization you are working on the developing a food delivery applications, right? So now, so you know very well that for designing an application or for writing the code, you need a systems, you need a servers actually, right? So let me open an MS Paint now. So let me, okay. Let me search for some server icon. Okay, so let me take something. Okay, let me take this one. So consider that I'm having this server, one server. Okay, I'll have multiple servers. One server, second server, third server, and the fourth server. We have some n number of servers actually. Okay, we have a number of servers. So this is nothing but the servers actually, right? Now, basically, what happened? Consider that in this server, your database is hosted. So this is nothing but a database. So this is nothing but your database. So in this server, database is hosted. So it could be an Oracle database or SQL database or Mongo database or like any kind of a database which has been running or which has been hosted here. Okay. And in this server, consider that there is something like a payment service is configured. So your payment gateway or your payment application, right? It is configured actually. What happened? Sorry, hold a second. Your payment service. Hey, this is so small, man. So this is your payment service. It means that your payment application or payment service is running in this server actually, in this. And in this server, say for example, you're having some application which is been configured or which has been running here. So that application, but it is your catalog application or catalog service. Right? Like for example, in your Swiggy or in Zomato, when you are ordering a food, you'll get a menu. Okay, in Nandana, you'll get, okay, these are the foods which are available, right? In Udupi, like Udupi Hotel or Shantisagar Hotel, so it is something like a menu, catalog services or something like a menu. It will display you or it will show you like what kind of a like menu foods are available, right? This is nothing but this application runs under this server. And in this server, where you will be, your front-end web will be running. Your front-end web will be running. Web application will be running under this first server. Correct, guys? So we are considering this. There are 4 servers in this food delivery application. So this is my food delivery applications. Okay, write it down. Food delivery application. Okay, this is my application which have been designed, and these are the 4 servers I've chosen for me to design and develop this application, food delivery application. Right now, guys, in all these servers, we have some operating system running. Say, for example, in this 4th server, you will be having an operating system by you will be having a Microsoft OS which is running, right? So anything can take any logo. I was looking, yeah, this is what it is. So Windows is installed here, and your database is actually hosted onto your Windows server or into Windows operating system. Similarly, in this machine, right, where you have Linux actually. So for example, you are having something like a Red Hat Linux. So you know that in Linux also there are various distributions are there. So Red Hat is one distribution. Okay, I will take this Red Hat. So for me, guys, operating system is, I mean, I'm not really like looking into which operating, but just try to understand. Okay, you need to have some operating system in the server actually. So I'll have some other. I'll take some other Ubuntu Linux. So Ubuntu operating system. So which has been in your catalog in this server where your catalog service application is running, right? And similarly, you have one more distribution. You might have heard about SUSE distribution. SUSE is also one of the Linux distribution actually. So this is SUSE Linux. So this is which is running in your front end actually. So the SUSE, Ubuntu, or your Red Hat, guys, all these are various different flavors of your Linux operating system. These are the distribution names. Correct. Now, so these are the servers, and these are the operating system which have been running in this servers. Clear? Now, guys, to make sure that your front-end web application is running, so assume that the developer has used some Angular JS or Node.js, right, to develop the front-end application, right? To make sure that the front-end application is running, you need to have some software stack, and that software stack is nothing but your something like a web server. So you need to have some kind of a web server over here, actually, right? So the web server. So on top of this web server, the front-end application will be working actually, right? The web server can be like Nginx, or else it can be an Apache, anything it could be. Okay, so this is what you need to have. This software stack you need to install in your system. Similarly, for the catalog to run, assume that you have developed this catalog service using Java applications, or Java software. So to deploy the Java application, you need to have some kind of a application server. Say, consider that you have hosted your application into the Tomcat server. So you need to have a Tomcat kind of a platform, or Tomcat application server need to be installed here in your server, actually. Tomcat server. So Tomcat, as you know, it's an application server, right? Correct. So your application, the catalog service, will be hosted onto the Tomcat server. So similarly, like your payment gateway service, assume that you have used something like ASP.NET actually. So you need to have a ASP.NET to be installed in this server actually. ASP.NET Core. So ASP.NET Core need to be there. Right. And here, guys, since like you need to like your database is running here in this, so you need to have some kind of a server. Say, consider that you are using a Microsoft SQL server. Microsoft SQL server. Correct. So if you ask me, sir, what is this all about? Say, this is nothing but it's a platform layer, guys. It's a platform layer. So it means that to make sure that all this front-end catalog, payment, database, all, if it has to be run into the servers, you need some platform to be run. So already a platform should be set up in this servers. So for the front-end web, it needs a platform, web server platform. So you can either install Nginx or Apache to make it run. Similarly, your catalog service has to run, so it needs an application server. What is that? Tomcat server. Similarly, payment server, which has been developed in this, you need to have a ASP.NET Core as a platform to be installed in this server, okay, to make sure that your payment service works. Same as with the database, where you need to have an SQL engine or SQL server need to be installed. So these are basically platform. It means that before this all this run, this platform has to be set, and on top of this, all these other things that front-end application catalog and the database can be hosted into this servers. Clear, guys? Any doubts you have until here? Daniel, Dipali, Girish sir, Harinder, any doubts you have? Okay, I consider as a no. Okay. So now, so guys, one thing I missed out here, like because all these 4 servers are like you're using the 4 servers, right? Basically, you need some common network to communicate it, right? You need to have some common network, or you need to have some network, right? So this is not but your common network. This is not but your network. Right. And all this servers, 4 servers should get connected over the network, right? For the communication, right? So now what is happening is that you need to have, so assume that in every server, right? You have a network card, actually. Ethernet network card is there actually inside your system. So that network card, it will be attached with the RJ45 network cable. And that network cable, what happened, right? You will be connecting over to your network actually like this. So I'm not really discussing much about the networking over here, but I'm just telling that, okay, you need to make sure that if all these 4 servers want to communicate each other, so they should be in a network actually, right? Obviously. Right? Now, guys, now to this access this application, you need from the client, there are various clients are there. Say, for example, because you have various clients. Say, for example, you have a browser. It means that you can even browse this application with the help of a browser. So browser will act like a client actually. It is something like you're sitting in your laptop or your mobile, you act like a client. So whenever I want to order food, right? So what you'll do basically, you'll in your mobile, right? What you do basically, you'll open the app where you have installed it, right? So you'll open the app and start going with and order the food, right? So the front end is nothing but your mobile itself. So through the mobile, you have installed the app and you act like a client and you are using that application. So whenever you want to access the application, you need you need some kind of a client actually. So the client is nothing but you have various clients, but let us try to see what are the clients you have. Say, for example, you have a browser, you have a Chrome browser, right? Chrome browser is one of the client, right? And these days, right? Like for accessing any application, like it is not like that you'll only having a browser, you have something like an app also. So where you, with the help of an app, you can actually communicate with the application. So all those apps are installed in your mobile devices, right? So that's how, so you will have even the client end as an mobile also, where you have installed the app. These are various different client guys actually. Like this, there are n number of clients are there who will interact with that application. Right? Say, for example, whenever you want to order food through the browser, what you will do, you will just do a www.swiggy.com. That's a URL. So what happened, right? Once you do it, what happened, right? The communication will get established from your browser client to your front-end web. Right? And through that, what happened, right? The front-end web will try to communicate with your catalog service. Catalog service is the one which is going to show you the menu of what are the food which are available in that particular restaurant. Right? So once you put everything into the cart, CRT cart, what happened? It will take you to the payment gateway. Right? So through the payment gateway, what to do? You will proceed with paying the bill, and finally, whatever the details, order details, and everything, whatever it is getting generated, right, that will be finally stored in your database actually. Right? Or else sometime what happened? The front end web end, he want to watch or he want to check his order, so he can directly fetch the details from the database directly like this actually. Right? So instead of going through catalog payment service, you want to fetch. So he can, so there's a provision that the front end front web end, it can directly communicate with the database also, right? Because that he want to check his order. What is state of his order is all about, like this. So either the front end can directly communicate with the database, or even the catalog service can communicate with the database, or even the payment service anything. Finally, it has to communicate with the database only, because all your data are stored in the database, right? Correct, guys? So this is our simple food delivery architecture, right? Food delivery architecture where your organization or your company has designed. Now, let us try to understand what are the possible failures. Say that, okay, this is the system I am having, but what could be the failure which might happen in the real time? Let us try to understand that. Okay, so we have a delivery architecture. So mentioned in the diagram. Now, what you need to understand that what are the possible failures? Guys, let us try to understand from the very base, from the very below, from here, right? From the very below onwards, let us try to trace or try to understand what could be the possible failure. There could be a possible failure of the network being down, right? So many times what happens, the network will go down, right? So even though these application servers and the applications are up and running, if the network goes down, this client cannot connect with that application because there's no networking at all. So many times what happens, you will see the possibilities of networking being down, or we call it as a connectivity issue. Connectivity issue or network being down. So the network is been down, even though the application as well as even the servers are up and running, right? You cannot access that application because then altogether network itself is down. What are the other things apart from networking? Okay, this is networking, and come back to here the servers actually. Okay, there could be some kind of a hardware issues also, right? So your disk might get corrupted. Okay, your RAM, like there would be an issue in the RAM. Okay, your CPU will be high. Your CPU will be very highly being utilized. There could be some kind of a Ethernet card being like it will stop working. There could be potentially a lot of hardware issues, right? So you need to even detect, okay, if there's any hardware issues are there. Guys, why I'm saying this? Because that now you need to build a monitoring system. When you're building a monitoring system, you need to understand what could be your possible failures which will happen in your entire architecture. This is your complete architecture. So you need to understand, you need to list it out. As being an SRE engineer, you need to list it down. What are the possible ways where the failure might happen? It might happen in the future. It might happen at any point of time. So I'm just listing out the possible failures actually. What are the reasons for possible? So connectivity issue or network being down, hardware issue, it could be a storage disk has been corrupted, file system has been corrupted, or there could be some device inside your server which has been not been working, malfunctioning, like network card is not working, right? Your RAM is not working. So there could be n number of reasons for the hardware issues. You need to even detect that also. And the third important is that something like OS issues. You would have seen in many times, right, in the industry, in your working, you're working and suddenly there's a notification which will come to you saying that, okay, there is a so-and-so date, your operating system is going to get upgraded, your server operating system is going to get upgraded, right? Like you're having Windows 2016, okay, in Windows 2019, it will get upgraded, right? Similarly, you're having in your real time, you'll be working on, there are many applications which are hosted on Red Hat, that is RHL 7. So they will say that, okay, we are upgrading, in the next week, we are upgrading to RHL 8. Right. So basically they'll be applying some kind of OS patches and everything to upgrade it actually. Right. So when during that process or after the OS has been upgraded, you will see sometimes that application stop working. It doesn't work properly. Okay. So there could be a possible issue where post upgradation, right? Maybe because of some kind of a misconfiguration which has happened during the upgrade, actually, your application will stop working. So now what happened, right? You will try to raise a ticket saying that, okay, this upgrade has happened, but my application stopped working. I tried a lot to restart my application, do whatever I can as an SRE engineer or as a DevOps engineer. Okay, that application is not coming up, right? So what you will do that you will possibly you will try to find any kind of potential error during upgradation. Okay, you say that okay, post upgradation only the issue has started coming up. Now you could say that okay, sir, there is something like a OS issue. It could be a OS issue, or it could be some particular patch which has been applied. Due to that patch only, your application stopped working. I have seen multiple times, guys. This guys in my previous organization. So we will say that okay, degrade it, man, or else like make one level down wherever it was there. I don't want RHL error, I want RHL 7. So when you degrade it to RHL 7, right, then you see that the application will start working. So there also you need to start triaging, like do post like patching or OS upgrade while the application got stopped. So that also you need to have some kind of a monitoring system where you can get the details about like why the issue, why the application got failed post OS upgrade. So this is one interesting area which most of us are not known, or many people doesn't have that much of knowledge on it. Okay, we will see like how exactly the monitoring system can even detect these issues also. Okay, and what are the other things you have, guys? Like for example, you are having this stack. Actually, you could see the diagram. You're having this platform area, right? Your web server or Nginx, Apache, Tomcat. Assume that this platform itself is down, or this platform itself is not working. Then obviously your application will also not work, right? So there could be a potential issue where your web server, right, or your application server, or your database server, sometime it will stop working. Finish. So this is not but your platform area. The platform layer is not working like this, right? Many times you have seen, right? I have seen like in my previous organization, like sometime what happened, the Oracle WebLogic clustering itself will not work. So I have hosted many kind of application, right? Java based application on top of the Oracle WebLogic clusters. It will not be working. That application stop responding because there is some issue with the Oracle WebLogic cluster itself actually. Similarly, with many of the applications not work where there is some issue with the Tomcat server like that, or else sometime Nginx is not working, Apache is having some issues, Apache is not properly responding. So your front end application will stop working. So under the platform layer, what happened, right? You have to even have a strong monitoring system where it can even monitor these different applications, these different servers actually. Clear, guys? So do you have any doubts, guys, till here? I know some of you already know this, but just I'm trying to explain. Okay. Now, guys, now I don't know like how many people have seen in your work actually. You could see that actually that there are a lot of teams are there who are doing some kind of a performance testing, or LNP used there, load and performance testing team. Have you come across this, guys? So what this basically, this team will do that basically, this team will take an application, that application, whatever we have designed, right? They'll try to do some kind of a load and performance testing by using some kind of an external tool. Say for example, your HP load balancer, okay, or it's the JMeter, or some other external tools are there, and many of the proprietary tools are. Through that, what happened, right? They try to put a load on the application and see like how that application behaves, right? So now what happened, why they do that, they want to check like how long your application can work, what would be the bottleneck of your application, or what would be a threshold where up to which threshold the application work. Say for example, your Amazon Prime is there, right? So there's always a bottleneck for each and every application. Say for example, if there are more than 10,000 users are at a time login and they're using this Amazon Prime Video, right? Maybe it might break after 10,000 user. So 10,001 user, 10,002 user, 10,003 user. If they started accessing the same application, maybe your application will stop responding. So that could be a kind of a bottleneck. So what this load and performance testing team will do, right? They try to put a lot of load onto this application, right? For example, they might say, okay, Rajesh, I'm a load and performance engineer. I want to check like how much the load can take by this catalog service application. So they'll take this application, they'll individually install in some server with some hardware configuration, and they'll try to configure, they will try to configure this server with some external tool which is not but load and performance tool. Say for example, you have a HP load balancer, HP load performance tool is there, or JMeter is there. There are many tools are there available with which they can put a load onto this application and try to check how long it can withstand it. right? Like that, for example, they'll already configure like 5,000 user. I want to, with the help of a 5,000 user, I want to put a load onto this catalog service, right? And I want to insert a lot of data, so that I need to say how RAM is behaving, how the CPU is working, how the CPU is behaving, how the disk IO is working. All those parameters I'll be setting into the external tool. Then I will put a load onto this application and try to test it. Say some, for example, for some time, some duration time. Say, for example, I want to do a load and performance testing for next 1.5 hours. I want to see how it works actually, right? So that way, what happened, guys, the load and performance testing team will do a lot of testing activity. So particularly when I was at Lumen company earlier, right? I worked for nearly for 10 years, over 10 years in the same company. There I was interacting very much with the LNP team actually. So they used to tell Rajesh, I need this servers and all. I need this kind of a configuration server. I need more RAM memory, more CPU cores. Okay, because that we are doing testing, right? So we need to build or we need to have a separate, like environment for doing LNP testing. And then what happened, right? We need to make sure that the applications are up and running. We need to restart that application, do a clear cache, right, by removing all cache and temp before the LNP starts, right? Before the load and performance starts, right? I used to do that actually. And then like we used to make it ready and give it and say that, boss, now the system is ready. All the URLs up and running, right? Now you start doing your load and performance activity. So what the LNP tool will do that actually, they will use a tool and they will take even me into the call also, because they'll have a bridge call where they will take the database engineer, they will take, like application developers, they will take DevOps engineer, as well as they will take other also, like support team is there, right? So they will take everyone in the call because they need their help, because they want to analyze. At the end, they have to analyze, they have to prepare the report, and they have to publish that report to all the stakeholders saying that, okay, these are the load and performance testing we did on this application or onto this project, where there are n number of applications being called, and this is the load we put onto it, and this is how the application started behaving, this is how the database started behaving, this is how the OS configuration started behaving. Like this, they will try to analyze like what kind of impact has happened with this load performance testing with all other different components in your software actually. Clear, guys? So this is how it happens. And what I used to do, right, like during the monitoring, like when I was into this load and performance monitoring, right, they used to say every 15 minutes they have to ask Rajesh, because all these applications are running in the Linux server. They used to say, Rajesh, what is the disk now? What is the load now? What is the CPU load now? So with the help of a top command in Linux, I used to monitor that actually. I used to monitor that. What is the CPU usage? What is the memory utilization? Like that. Okay. And then what is a disk IO it is doing? How much? So I using IOstat command to make sure that I will always see that what exactly, how much a disk IO per minute it is doing actually. So like that. And database engineer, he used to give his details about, okay, when the load is performing, how much load is happening to database, right? The application developer, he used to tell how much load is happening to the application, how many number of threads have been created, okay, how many number of like memory has been utilized, high usage of memory is utilized. Like that, what happened, right, guys? The various different engineers, they used to give the details during the load and performance test. And finally, what happened that once the test complete, right, this LNP team member or this testing team member, he will prepare a report and he will circulate that report. And he will say that, Rajesh, whatever the statistic data which you have captured, say, for example, last 1.5 hours, every 5-10 minutes you have captured, give me all the details. So he will see, okay, after half an hour, after 30 minutes of the load on performance test, what happened, right? This LNP team has put more load onto the application. At that time, what was the CPU utilization? What was a disk IO? What was a RAM utilization? Everything at that particular time they will match, and they'll try to check that, okay, at that particular time, the CPU usage went more than 120%. The disk, almost 90% of disk utilized. RAM was completely utilized. So it means that a lot of threats have been created during that. So they will ask the application developer, why this kind of a behavior is happening when I'm putting more load. So he will give his own explanation. So it means that there could be some flaws in the application itself, or there could be some flaws in the way the application is working. So like that, what happened? They'll arrive with all kind of a reporting details, guys. So guys, I'm sorry, like I explained more, but did you understood the crux of what I'm saying? So it means that when you are doing a monitoring system, even you need to monitor whenever the load and performance of your system or your performance bottleneck also, you need to monitor it. What are the performance bottleneck? performance bottleneck. What are those, guys? You need to check the CPU, how much is CPU is utilized. You need to check your RAM memory is utilized, as well as you need to check your disk utilization. All this are being need to be monitored by your system.
Sir, I have one doubt over here.
Mhm.
So after tasting the traffic coming or the so when this performance testing team say this app like our system is not able to handle the traffic.
Hmm.
So like is it because of application or is it because of the RAM size and like that all?
It could be it could be many reasons, man. It could be for not for only one thing. It could be for multiple. That's what the LNP team will identify it actually.
Okay, okay. So,
Yeah.
like majorly it was like due to application size or like
Yeah, that's
in the
what I'm saying. It
scenario.
could be an application, it could be in hardware configuration, it could be an application also. So that's the reason what happened, right? Like before the LNP starts, right? What they to tell me, right? Like Rajesh, go to the application, go to the configuration file. So there is one important boot script was there, boot.property file was there for the Java application, which is hosted in WebLogic. So there's to say me that go to that Rajesh, go to that file, boot.property file, go and search for Java underscore opt, like that. There's to say Java underscore opt. There is a variable like this. Go and increase the RAM memory, like XMS. Like earlier it was 1024 XMS RAM memory. Please change it to 2048 or 4096 like this. And just to tell, go to your WebLogic console, go to the properties, go to the connectivity issue, connectivity pool, like your database connectivity, increase the number of transactions from 50 to 100. Like that, they used to tell me to do a pre-setting so that those are the configuration settings which are used for you to do performance testing. So what the LNP team engineer will do that actually he need a certain configuration. With that configuration only, he will try to apply the load onto that application and try to check how your application is behaving. So it's all about to check that how exactly your application will behave, right? When you're putting more load onto it. That's all.
Right. Got it, got it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, so guys, these are some of the possible failures or issues which you might see, right, in your entire arcade or in your application. Correct? So now you need to ensure. So what is your main motto? That our idea is to ensure that we need to have a low MTTR. We say our aim or our idea or aim is to ensure we have to have a low MTTR. Mean MTTR means last class only I discussed mean time to recover. It means that if your application fails, right? Your application fails. How much time you will take it to recover it or make it to back it to running state? That is what we call the MTTR. So in the organization, these are the metrics which are being heavily used, right, guys? MTTR, MTT, F, MTBF. You might come across with a lot of these things, this metric terminologies, right? MTTR, and there is something as a MTT, MTBF, mean time between failures, and MTTF, mean time to failure.
What's happening, my baby?
Guys, please mute yourself, guys. I mean, keep telling, yeah. So MTBF or MTTF, both are one the same, guys. Actually, you can use any of this metric actually, but you will always use MTTF. MTTR is something how long you are taking it to recover it, right? Whenever any failure happens. So always you need to always have a low MTTR always. Say for example, like there is some failure has happened and you took to recover only in terms of minutes. Say for example 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Oh, it means that your MTTR is low, or it means that you are very much effective in resolving an issue because you're fixing the issue very fast. Suppose you're taking in hours or in days actually, then it means that you are not efficient. So what happened always in the industry, right? There are a lot of people who are sitting in management, right? They are more particular about this MTTR. So they want to see that how fast that particular team is, taking the time to recover for any kind of a failure. And like in an hour, say for example, in an hour, some 10 issues has come, some 10 tickets of failures have come. or some 10 tickets have come. They will see the average of it, how much time the particular engine has took to resolve the 10 tickets. So if it is in terms of minutes, yeah, it is good actually. Oh, it means that he is doing it efficiently. If it is in terms of number of hours, oh, it is not that good. If he's taking in days, oh, it is really bad. So they'll always calculate this MTTR always. I think some of you already know this. And there is something as MTTF. MTTF is nothing but mean time to failure. Say, for example, you have designed an application today, and you know that, okay, I have my server is up and running. I'll even start my application also. My application also be up and running, and it will be serving the service for the end client. How much long time application will be up and running till it fails? It means that you know that, Rajesh, I have my application. It will take at least minimum 1 year to get failed. Oh, it means that your MTTF is 1 year. After 1 year, possibly your application might fail. Say, for example, like in the big hospital, like if you go to Apollo Hospital, or even if you go to any Columbia Asia or Manipal Hospital, right? Very big hospital, right? They have a lot of big, scans, right? CT scan, MRI scan, right? Some big scanner machines are there, which are basically built by either GE company or Philips company, right? Like those scanners machines, right? They never get stopped, guys. They'll always be up and running, and they'll be in some kind of a cooling system. If you get inside, a lot of AC coolers are there, because it needs that kind of a atmosphere to run actually. And this scanner machine, right? It'll never get failed. It'll never get stopped actually. And even application will never get failed. It'll be keep running. So what Philips or GE said that once you start this CT scan machine, right? You can up and running up to 5 years, non-stop. It'll not stop at all. It will not work, because why they will make it up, because that the scanning can happen at any time, right? Even like some patient come at the midnight. Do you think that you have to start again, start and stop again? It will take its own sweet time to come up. So they cannot do that operation, right, of stopping the machine and starting the machine. It should always be up and running, and it should never fail. When you're doing a scan operation, it should never get failed, right? When you're doing a CT scan or MR scan, if the server, if the application stopped working, then it's a problem, right? So it should never get stopped at all. That's what happened. This MTTF means that MTTF means mean time to failure. How long your application will be up and running? What is the time you give it? Say, for example, 5 years for the CT scan. Similarly, for example, I don't know how many of you have observed that. Suppose, for example, if you are having your Wi-Fi, right? So like I have a router in my at my home, which is not but the router, which is not but your Realtek Rear-Link router, which I've installed. My router, I just switched on it for the next 5-6 days. Like I will not off my router. You have observed that after 5-6 days, suddenly your router will start behaving. It means that your network become very slow. It will not work properly. Something will happen. Then what you will do? You will come and you will just restart your router. Once you restart, what happened? Again, your Wi-Fi will start working properly again. So what is it actually? Your MTTF there? Oh, it's a 5 years. So since you're continuously making up and running for 5 days, right? So what happened after 5 days? What happened, right? The responsiveness of the application or the system will go down actually. So it means that it needs some kind of a restart or something. It has to be done. So that's what. So that same thing, guys, it cannot happen in your data center. So, for example, if you go inside the data center in the company, there are a lot of Wi-Fi routers are there. There you cannot say that I need to restart after 5 days or 6 days. No, that should be continuously running without non-stop, right? And that MTTF for that particular router, it should be more than 1 year, or it should be in number of months actually, right? You cannot restart every day, right? If your MTTF is something like it is an every day. You say, Rajesh, my MTTF every day my application has to be restarted. Oh, then there is some issue with your application. Correct? Do you agree with this statement, guys? Harinder?
Yes, sir.
Prant,
Yes.
Dipali? You might have observed all these things, right, in your organization, right? Rajat? Syed? So, guys, always for efficient thing, your MTTR should always be as below, and your MTTF be very high. This is what they will gauge it. Guys, today I don't want to get into bombarding a lot of metrics actually today itself, because it might confuse you. So in upcoming sessions, right, what I will do, right, I will try to I'll try to bring many more metrics for the discussion. Okay, so today is enough for this. Okay, now so our idea is to ensure that we have a low MTTR, and MTTR is high. MTTI size. So guys, so to do all these things, to do all this, whatever discuss, to do this, we need an effective monitoring system. To do all this, we need effective monitoring system. Do you agree with this? This is what the crux of the SRE engineer. Of course, we are not come to the definition of what is SRE. So this is what the SRE engineer does. Because SRE was the term which was coined by the Google company, right? You know about the Google company, right? So Google, what happened, right? They published even the book by the name SRE, Site Reliability Engineer. And what Google says that actually Google has a lot of applications, right? They have the Gmail, they have a YouTube, they have a Google Drive, like that. N number of applications are working in the real-time production environment. Now, what SRE says that actually, what Google says SRE, you have to make sure that your application will always be up and running in the live production environment without failures. Or suppose in case if it is failed, right, what is the best practice you will follow to recover it very soon, so that there will be a continuity of your service. Have you seen anywhere, guys, where, like your Google Drive is going down, your Gmail is going down, your YouTube is going down? You might think, right, why this application never goes down? Or even the Facebook also doesn't goes down. Amazon Prime Video doesn't goes down. Amazon Prime website doesn't goes down. So what is the reason behind that? This application is always up and running, because they're using some best practices to make sure that this application never goes down. And also, like, this application can be scalable also. It means that when there is a huge load, is that automatically sometimes scale up happens during the live production moment. Whenever the load is less, it will scale down, scale up, efficiently working everything. All these things will happen because of a strong monitoring system which has been implemented by the company. So Google, what they did, right? They have come up with this SREs. It means that what are the best practice you can use in your live production moment to make sure that your application is highly available to your end customer. This is what simple. I have to say that this is what SRE is all about. So now when this SRE was adopted by the Google, and they made it a lot of standard procedure or practice to make sure that how things work, many other companies also started adapting this culture, actually, SRE. That's what you could see, that in many organizations, they required people who was already having a experience or knowledge on SRE, actually. Right. So it is not only SRE, you should have a good knowledge on DevOps also. You should have some little bit programming knowledge also. Plus, you should have all conceptual understanding working on SRE. Everything combination only they will take you. And you know very well that this is a high paying scale job, actually. Right. And there's a lot of responsibilities there in this SREs. Like you need to be an individual contributor, and like you need to quickly resolve any kind of an issue which comes in your systems. So all those things you need to manage, guys. Clear? So we need an effective monitoring system. To do that, what you have to do that? See, for example, guys, to do that, what you have to do that? You need to, at the very basic minimal or a very basic thing, what you need to do that? You need to first ping to the server and check whether the server is up or running. That's what the basic we do. Say, for example, you do a ping command. Say, for example, I'll open a terminal. This is my terminal, actually. What you will do, Rajesh, I want to ping whether the Google is up and running. It means that wherever the Google is hosted in that server, whether the server is up and running, I'll use a basic ping command to make sure that the ping is successfully get executed. Now, this is a kind of a log or a logs which you have got. You have seen that there's a 0% loss. It means that when you try to ping to this server, okay, there are no packet loss. Okay, it means that the packet has reached to the destination server where exactly Google is hosted. And you could see many other things, actually. Say, for example, approximate round trip time in millisecond. What is the round trip time it took? It took minimum 6 milliseconds, maximum 7 milliseconds, and the average to 6 milliseconds it has to. Oh, it means that, Rajesh, from my laptop, when I ping to the Google, it has literally took 6 milliseconds to go to the packet to that server and come back to your laptop. So it means that round trip, it means that approximately round trip, it means that once you send a packet, so I'm sending the packet from my laptop here. Suppose this is the Google server. So the packet will go here. The ping means the ping in turn will initiate a packet, right? So the packet will reach to this database or to this Google server, and again the packet will reach back actually to the same system where it has been originated. So this is not, but it is a round trip actually. So this is how much it is taking, average of 60 milliseconds. Oh, I mean that this Google is very much responsive, right? Say for example, if I try to ping ICICI bank.com, I'm just think whether I'm able to reach or not. Yeah, I'm able to reach, but how much time it is taking? Let us see. See, it is taking average 20 milliseconds. Oh, it is taking more time. Oh, it means that my application is it's little slow compared to the Google. Obviously, ICICI bank application is little slow because it is taking 50 milliseconds to respond it. You will see there are many are there like where it will take around 250 millisecond, 180 millisecond. Oh, it means that actually, so those responsive of that server or the application is too high actually. Oh, it means that, man, your application is not so much fast responsive, right? So that is also one of the concern of any like client, right? How fast my application is responding, man? It should be very fast. It should be in terms of like below 10 or 15 millisecond. Then I could say that, okay, my application is very much faster responding. If it is taking more time, then I'll say my application is very slow, man. There is some flaw. There's some flaw in the application, or there's some flaw in the service, like that we'll say, right? So what I'm trying to do that this is a very, very basic, guys. What you say monitoring means, first I need to check whether the server is alive or not, whether the system is server is up or not. So ping will only signify, say that, okay, that particular server is up or not. But it doesn't signify that the application is up or not. Ping never says that application will be up or not. It only says that whether your server or your hardware or what your server is up or not. Only the ping will give that information. So we will be doing a very basic level of monitoring from starting from the ping onwards. Like that. Clear? So first what you are trying to do that you have to try to do a, whether you need to check whether the system server is alive or not. Server is alive. Or else we call it as a where we call a term as a heartbeat. You might have heard about this term as a heartbeat. Whenever you work on the clustering level, right, you will come up with a heartbeat. Actually, heartbeat is something like an agent which is installed as a server. It will send a packet to the next server in the cluster saying that whether you are alive or not, it will be keep sending a packet. That we call the heartbeat packet or heartbeat message. It will be keep sending. Right? Some of you might have heard about this. I don't know, but this we call the term is a heartbeat. Okay. Now, so in the heartbeat, in the live server, what are the two important things which you'll always be checking? You'll be checking whether your server is up or not. That is what you will be checking. And also, you'll also be checking whether your application is up or not. Correct, guys? This is what you'll be doing it. And what are the other things which you'll be doing effective monitoring? Of course, as I mentioned, you will be doing a performance monitoring. Performance. Sorry, guys, I might be taking a little more today. Please bear with that because I need to complete this because in the next session, right, I need to start with some monitoring tool. Like I don't want to continue this discussion again, right? So please bear with me. Give me another 15 to 20 minutes so that I will complete this. Is it fine with you all, guys? Staying another 15 to 20 minutes?
Yes.
Yes, of
Thank you,
course.
guys. And thank you. Thank you for
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. So what you have to do that you need to do some kind of a performance monitoring. What you will be checking what is the CPU utilization. What would be your free disk space? How much of free disk space available so that your application will be running? How much is a free RAM memory so that your application will be up and running? So these are some kind of a monitoring which you'll be doing, which will be coming under your performance monitoring actually. And the third is very important, guys, which is very, very tricky and very, very complex, right? What is that? Can anyone guess what is it? It is not but your log monitoring. This is very, very tricky and very important, guys, because in industry, like a lot of people know that there are a lot of logs comes, right, during the monitoring, but you need to analyze the log effectively. So you should know that, like, how exactly you can, like go to the logs, try to understand to the logs what kind of different there are different types of logs are there. You need to even check the logs and everything, right? So those is a very, very little bit complex things which even till today also, like a lot of people, like they face a lot of problem while doing a log, while when they're analyzing the logs, right? They feel a lot of they'll try to or they will what I want to tell that they're feeling very difficult to understand the logs also. They'll not be able to completely, or they'll not be able to triage the issue by going to the logs. So they'll try to take some help from someone to make sure to understand how to make sure to understand like what are the faults which are there and how to triage to the logs, right? Many people doesn't know that. So as being a DevOps or SRE, right, you should be very good in even triaging the issue through the logs. So log monitoring is a very major things which we'll be stressing in this SRE course, right? That's what it is. Okay. And what are the other things you have? Fourth thing, like for example, I don't know, some of you might have heard about the trace monitoring. Not sure how many have heard, or something like the profiling. Trace monitoring is something like, say, for example, trace monitoring usually in the organization, it is usually done by the developers. Okay. Say, for example, I'm just taking an example. Like, say, for example, the application developer has developed the application. He has developed an application using C language or C or C++ language. Okay. Now, so what is one of the main role and important of the developer is that, guys, when he developed an application, he need to make sure that this application should always logs, or it should always logs some kind of a logs. It means that it should always put up some logs. So when an application is running or when the application works, actually, the application developer has to make sure that it has to provide some logs. So during the runtime of the application, it has to provide some log. So it means that he need to enable some kind of a logging system or logging methods within his application to make sure that to provide the logs. So during runtime, it has to put the logs into some file. Okay, so that is the job of the developer, is that he has to put it actually. So now these logs can be any type. It could be a debug log, or it could be an info, or it could be some kind of a trace log, right? Like that actually, or it could be some debug log info. There are different types of loggers are there actually. So you need to enable those so that you will get an appropriate logs. Even the DevOps or SR engineers, they can go to the log and they can understand the behavior of that application. Say, for example, if the developer has developed the application, he never does any kind of a logger, or he never generates any logs actually, then you being a DevOps or SR engineer, you cannot monitor that application, guys. It's not possible. Because he has to enable it. When he's designing an application, he has to enable it. Right. So sometime what happened, right? What the developer want to do, that developer want to check, suppose my application is running. Now, what is the flow of the application? In which line of code currently my application is running? So how he can do this? He can do with the help of a tracing actually. So he has to see, or he has to understand the flow of the application. He has to understand, or the developer want to do a flow. He want to trace, or he want to triage the flow of the application. Triage the flow of the application. Means he need to check, or he need to trace line by line, trace the code, trace the application code, line by line, where now the application getting executed, in which line of code the application getting executed. Then you need to enable the tracing lines, guys. How he can enable the tracing? He can enable the tracing with the help of some tool actually, with the help of some tool. That tool is nothing but the profiler tool. So he need to use some tools. He has to use some tools actually. So for example, whenever you want to whenever you want to see the line by line code execution, then there is a tool known as a GDB, GNU debugger. That tool, he has to attach the tool with that application, or he has to run this application under this tool to make sure that he need to trace out where exactly the application is flowing. So this is very important from the application point of view, or for the application developer. He will try as like, okay, how many number of lines have been covered during the execution? Okay, how many number of loops have come into the picture? Where exactly my application is flowing? If it is fails, why it fails? All those things he can triage with the help of his GDP tool. So this is we call it as a profiler section. And there are some profiler tools are there. I think you have heard. I don't know whether how much you heard. Gcow, Gprof. These are some kind of a profiling tool which are there, guys, which are available. I'm not sure how many of you know this. I'm just telling you. Like for example, Gcow tool. So it will do a code coverage actually. This tool will does a code coverage. Juno compress code coverage it will do like this. Gcow. Similarly, you have a Gprof. Similarly, we have a GDB tool. GNU's debugger tool, online debugger tool. You can triage it. So what happened in some cases? Okay, and one more thing, guys, very important. I want to tell you that this tracing tools or this tools, right? They are very, very costly. They are proprietary tools. You won't find many of the open source tools in the organization. No, you will find only the proprietary or the enterprise tool. So you need to buy it. So what happened, right? When the architecture is designing application, when he's designing this application, he will make sure that, okay, does we need any kind of a profiling tool in the future, or we need any kind of a trace monitoring tool? Yeah, we need it. So you need to even come up with a plan by saying that, okay, it might be required either even by the developer, even by the DevOps engineer also. Some of the DevOps engineers also need, sometimes they will be told to triage or trace the logs actually using some tracing tools, they will say. So those tracing tools and all are very, very costly, guys. Those are proprietary one. You need to invest a lot of money to get the tool. But of course, you'll get a better result actually. If you're using those tools at your monitoring system, you can make it your application very highly stable, because you will be tracing a lot of logs, a lot of important logs, a lot of trace you will do to the application, so that you'll make sure that your application is efficiently working all the times. Is it clear, guys? Did you understood whatever I said till now? Karthik, Naresh?
Yeah, yes.
Sachin? Guys, have you come across with all these things, whatever I'm saying till now?
What GDB that profiling that?
Yeah, I mean, fine, but I'm trying to, like that, what happened, there are profiler tools are there which can do profiling on Java application, onto the .NET application. Like that, you'll find some kind of a trace monitoring tools. Okay, you will find some generic tool which does everything. Like, for example, GDB will also do for a C and C++. To some extent, it can even do for the Java application also, but not everything, right? Like that. So you will have a lot of tools which are available, guys, in the industry, where you can opt for those tools for doing it, for doing the trace monitoring. So trace monitoring or the profiling is also very good monitoring mechanism, which a lot of companies they adopted. Even like Google has adopted it, actually. Right. So these are some kind of things which will be doing for doing an effective monitoring system. Now, there is something known as a centralized monitoring. Centralized monitoring. What do you mean by centralized monitoring? So, guys, now assume that in this architecture, assume that your database is running here. Assume that this database goes down. So what you will do? You log into the server, Windows server. You will go and you will try to verify why the database went down. Similarly, if the payment service goes down, you log into the server and you will try to check why the payment goes down. Similarly, with the catalog, similarly with the front end. If the front end is not working, it means there is some issue with the Nginx. What you will do, you will try to log into the server, go to the Nginx path, right, where the logs are there, go there, try to check the access log .log, right, Nginx HTTP.log. Like that, some logs you will check and you will try to verify why this Nginx stopped working. So it means that there is always a manual way, there is a manual hard work is required for you to log into the server and go and check it actually. So do you think that, guys, in the real time, if you're having this architecture where there are hundreds of servers are there, do you think that you log into all 100 servers and try to verify the logs and all? It is very difficult. You can't do that actually. And it is not advisable. Yeah, for certain things, if some particular component is not responding, say, for example, your payment is not responding, yeah, you can log into the server and you can check it, but not for every server. You cannot log in on every server and do this monitoring. Or right. So that's the reason what happened. That you have something known as a centralized monitoring. So what the central monitoring says that actually, right, in the real time, what they say that actually that, so you need to have one more server like this actually. So what you will do here, I'll go with the server icon. So what I will do that, I'll have one more server like this, guys. I will install one more server like this actually. So this I call it as a centralized monitoring server. Centralized monitoring server. What it will do that, even this server will also be connected to the same network actually. It will be connected to the same network, into the same network. What the server will do, no, it will collect all the metrics of all the servers, whatever it is there. So currently we're having 4 servers. All the details, all the logs, all the metrics, it will try to collect and it will try to keep it in this centralized server. Now what happened, any user is there. What he will do that, he will try to log in into this server only. He could be an admin, it could be DevOps, any engineer he could be a SRE engineer. What he will do that, he will log into this machine, okay, he will log into this machine and he will try to check all the metrics. This is what called a centralized monitoring system. And almost all the monitoring tools has this concept of centralized monitoring system. Let it be a Splunk, let it be a Zabbix server, let it be kind of a Elasticsearch server, let it be a New Relic, let it be Nagios, anything, right? We have something which is centralized monitoring, so where all the metrics, all the logs, and everything is being collected from various different servers in this architecture and keep it in one place. Clear, guys? This is what we'll be learning in our upcoming class, how to build the centralized monitoring service. So what is it actually? What a centralized monitoring system will do that? All the metrics, comma, logs, comma, what is it? Trace logs should be centralized to analyze the failures or predict failures without need to log in into each server, right? So as I said here, without log into individually any of the server, you want to get all the details, right? So in that way, what happened? You will get everything into the same one single centralized server. Clear, guys? Now, good. What is the next thing? The next thing is that actually, like, you have something with the monitoring types. What are the different monitoring types we have? Broadly, you could say that monitoring types of two categories. There are two types actually. Two types are there. What are those two types? So those two types are, one is the server monitoring and other is a application monitoring. These are the two broad categories of monitoring types actually. Application monitoring. So there are other monitorings are there, but we broadly classify into these two categories. Clear? So application monitoring is something like where you will be monitoring all the logs, the traces, and even the metrics. This is what we will be monitoring it. Clear? Now, very important that what are the different softwares which are available in the market for achieving this monitoring? What are they? So softwares, tools available. Available. So what is it, guys? For the server monitoring, we have various tools actually, right? But the most famous tools which are something like we have something like, have you heard of Nagios? Yes. Have you heard of ITIL, which is an open source tool, which I have worked on it in my previous organization? We have something known as Zabbix. There are a lot of others. I'm just mentioning some few actually. Zabbix is also an open source server monitoring, right? So we can use this actually. For the application monitoring, we have a lot of tools. Some of the famous tools are, have you heard of App Dynamics? See, the application server, the server monitoring also can do a little application monitoring, but not into complete extent. There are many server monitorings are there, which does some extent, it does application monitoring also. Say, for example, Ichinga can do to some level, it can do a monitoring of the application, but not in a very in great detail, not into very in great actually, right? It does for few things actually, right? Yeah, let me check, guys. Yes, Nagios score. Yes, right. Yeah. So, but you have a specifically for the application monitor where it does only application monitorings effectively. Those are App Dynamics. You might have heard about a New Relic, right? Some of you might have heard about New Relic. This is very costly, guys. New Relic, and you had heard about Datadog. You had heard about something was a Splunk, Dynatrace. I mean, this list is big, guys, actually. And also, like, you heard about Prometheus with Grafana, right? Prometheus, which is very much they use these days on your Kubernetes architecture, right? Wherever your Kubernetes you installed, right? To monitor your Kubernetes cluster, or they want to use Prometheus with Grafana heavily nowadays, right? So this is most widely used across in the organization nowadays. So these are some of the things, right? And one more thing, guys, for in case of when it comes to the cloud, actually, you have something like cloud monitoring. cloud itself will provide its own monitoring services. So, for example, in case of AWS, we have a cloud watch actually. Cloud watch. And in case of Azure, we have something as Azure monitors. Now, what we would be doing as part of learning this, what are the tools which we are going to learn as part of SRE? So tools which we are going to cover as part of this course. So one is nothing but your elastic stack with a formally it was called as a earlier it was called as a elastic search, or like we used to call it as a ELK actually. Okay, format used to call with the ELK or elastic stack. Now we call it elastic stack, right? And even we call it like there's something like elastic cloud also. We'll discuss what is it later. Elastic cloud. And the second important what we'll be learning is Prometheus with Grafana. This is majorly used in your Kubernetes environment. That's what. And the third important tool which will be covering is your Dynatrace. And also, like I will see, like I will take because New Relic is very costly, guys. I have to go with the free trial version for 14 days. So I will take some 2 or 3 sessions on New Relic, and I will show you how the New Relic works actually. Okay, Splunk also, like there is a trial version is there. There's an open version is also there. But if I start explaining about Splunk, and when you start working on Splunk, it takes a lot of time actually. You need around like the whole course, you need around 40-50 hours to only learn on Splunk. So I'll not be able to cover this. This is what I will be focusing it on. So primarily at the very beginning, I'll be focusing only on is Elastic Stack. So this might take around 7 to 8 sessions to complete this. And then I'll take a Prometheus Grafana that will take around 6 to 8 sessions to complete this. Dynatrace also, it's a huge tool actually, but I might not be able to cover everything. I will take some 10 sessions to cover the Dynatrace. This is what I'm just thinking about to cover this as part of this. Is it clear, guys? So guys, till here, any doubts you have? I know I'm continuously speaking from last 1.5 hours. So did you find useful whatever we discussed today so far?
Yes. Yes.
Are you finding interesting or it's
Yes.
boring? I mean, I know it's a theoretical thing what I discussed today, but it was very much required actually.
No, sir, it's interesting, but when we come to practical, that's more interesting.
Correct, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, when from next session we'll be starting with this Elastic Stack actually, which is very interesting. So I will explain about the Elastic Search or Elastic Stack architecture, what kind of different components are there in that, how to install it. So we will directly get into installation, understand the configuration, server configuration required for that. So for this, all these things, guys, suppose if you want to practice, the bare minimum you should have is that in your you need to have a AWS or Azure account, because you will be using the servers, right? You'll be using some VMs over in the cloud. Plus, you need to have a PuTTY software which should be there in your system. These are the basic prerequisite which is required. And most of the time, when I'm configuring the Elastic Stack or Prometheus or Dynatrace or New Relic, I'll be using Linux systems only. Rarely I'll be using Windows Server, but yeah, in 1 or 2 occasions, I will show in Windows also. But mostly 99% I'll be using Linux only, and that too on Ubuntu server, Ubuntu or Red Hat. These are the 2 flavors of Linux which I'll be working. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Now, one last thing, give me another 5 minutes and then we'll wind up our session. Okay. What are the methodologies which we are using in the organization? What are the methodologies? Because every organization has its own methodologies or it has its own practice. Have you heard of something known as an ITIL process? You know that every company, guys, has its own ITIL process. Infosys has its own ITIL process. HP has its own ITIL process. Lumen company, where I worked at it, has an ITIL process. ITIL process is within an organization. They follow one standard practice in the entire organization. Right? What is a standard practice? Say, for example, like you have the laptops. A lot of engineers are working in the company, right? Say Lumen is having 40,000 engineers, right? So to make sure that there is a single process which is which is same for every engineers who are working across organizations, right? They have to form one ITIL process actually. Say, for example, you need to have some kind of a service desk, help desk, right? So to implement that help desk, everything, right? You know that there is something. Have you heard about the ServiceNow tool, ticketing tool? They use the ServiceNow ticketing system to make sure that across the organization they follow a single process. Say, for example, like your system is having some issue, you will try to raise a ticket to the IT help desk, service desk. You'll try to raise a ticket and say that, okay, this is my system. So it does, the service is it is same across anyone in the organization. Those they try to maintain a standard practice of having an ITIL to be implemented in every organization. Say, for example, Apple is having its own ITIL. Infosys is having its own ITIL. But if Infosys engineers, if they are going and they're working on the Apple project, right, they have to follow the Apple's ITIL process, not the Infosys, right? So within the Infosys, they might have multiple different ITILs, but that is dependent upon the clients which they support. But altogether in a single in the Infosys, they might have a single ITIL process which is running, right? So particularly all this ticketing system, this help desk, all those things, right? Whatever you have an issue with, say for example, you have some payroll issues, you'll raise a help desk request, right? So like that, you have a standard ITIL process, right? ITIL is something like information technology infrastructure library. If I'm not wrong, that is a full form of ITIL. Sometime in intro they ask what is ITIL full form. So I have to say that it is a information technology infrastructure library, ITIL. Okay. ITIL process. Right. What is ITIL? Information technology. That's what. So you need to go through that. Anyway, you are aware of all these things. You will be knowing all this, right? IT infrastructure library. This is what infrastructure technology infrastructure library we say. Information technology infrastructure library. Sorry. Clear? Okay, fine, guys. Now, what are the other methodologies we have? We have something. Not how many of you. You have something as a continuous monitoring. So continuous monitoring, guys, it is a part of the CI/CD process, CI/CD pipeline. You would say that, Rajesh, why we build a CI/CD pipeline? To deploy the application, we follow some CI/CD pipeline. During the deployment, guys, even you also be deploying even the monitoring systems also. This is very effective during your CI/CD pipeline. Whenever the DevOps engineer is designing the pipeline, right, you will even also incorporate the monitoring system to be deployed as a part of the deployment. Whenever the deployment is happening, even the monitoring system is also getting deployed. This is very effective and this is required, guys, actually. I don't know, many of you, I have come across with some of the project case where what happened, right? You have a very complex project which is running on your AWS, AWS Databricks actually, right? A lot of different databases up and running in your Databricks, inside Databricks. You call the terminal data engineering, right? But I saw that there is no monitoring system at all in that. It means that they'll fail in upcoming future, because as and when their application and the architecture complexity grows, right, even your monitoring system should be very effective. If there is no monitoring system at all, then every occasion you will be keep facing a lot of issues. So always what the architecture will do, when they're designing the complex architecture for the application, right, they'll also design the continuous monitoring also, so that you need some kind of a monitoring mechanism. So in many of the organizations, in many of the companies, this is very much lagging actually. So now whenever any company is migrating their application from the on-premises to the cloud, say for example, some application, some insurance application based company, they want to migrate their application from the on-premises to their Azure cloud, right? So what they do, right, they will try to design the whole Azure architecture in Azure. What could be the system, what are the servers, what kind of things, and also they'll design even the continuous monitoring also. Okay, when I'm deploying, when I'm writing a Terraform code for creating infrastructure, I need to even write a Terraform code for even deploying the monitoring system also, right? So for example, for Azure, you need Azure monitoring, right? So you'll also be implementing simultaneously the Azure monitoring system also when you are creating the infrastructure to create when you are allocating infrastructure, or when you are creating infrastructure, say for example, virtual machines, storage, networking, at the same time, even you are doing even your monitoring system also. This is very much important, guys. You should always keep in mind that whenever you're doing that, you need to stress this point. Even in your organization, when you are working or when you are come up with any new project where you need to, do some kind of migration activity, you should even stress the point that is there any monitoring system which we need to enable or we need to configure it? Yes. What to do? What is the procedure? What exactly the layout of it? How I have to? What are the different monitoring which I have to enable? Like that, you should keep asking. You need to even enable all those things also when you're working. Do you agree with this statement, guys? Whatever I said.
Yes, sir.
Please, you should have this in mind, right? Because if you miss this, you have deployed everything. Okay, you have deployed the networking, you have deployed the VM, you have deployed all kind of a database, anything whatever required. You have even hosted application. Oh, finally you think, oh, now I have to set up monitoring. Then, if you are trying to implement the monitoring at the end moment, right? Then it will become very difficult. Actually, very difficult. So you need to parallelly do it when you're deploying the application. During deployment, even the monitoring also should be enabled or it should be deployed. That is what it is. And the last is nothing but your SRE, Site Reliability Engineer. So as part of our course, when you're learning these tools, guys, you will be learning this continuous monitoring and SRE together. As part of this, when you're learning these tools, so in this methodologies, we'll be using these two methodologies heavily. So we'll be building a CI/CD pipelining for the deployment as well as deploying the monitoring systems. Plus, you will be following all kind of principles, whatever which come across with this SRE. Clear, guys? So this is what I thought to cover it today. And I'm thankful, guys, for all of you that you stayed almost 2 hours today. And like you learned something today. And what we'll be doing in the next class, right? We will be starting with this Elastic Stack. So when is the next class? Timing. So what I will do that this coming Saturday. Tomorrow I'll not take this 20th of April. At 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. IST, I'll start the class. So from 6 to 7:30, I'll take 1.5 hour class to do it. Majorly, we will be covering the Elasticsearch, Elastic Stack architecture diagram. How this tool look like and what are the different components are there. This is what we'll be covering as part of the session. This is very interesting. If you go in your in any interview, they'll ask you on which monitoring tool you have worked. You have to say that, sir, I have worked on Splunk, I have worked on Elasticstack. Okay, they will ask you like, could you please draw a diagram of the entire architecture of it? What are the different components are there in this? How these different components communicate each other within this Elastic Stack architecture? They will ask you this question, right? So you should be ready to give answer for such questions. It could be anything. You can say that, sir, I'm working on Nagios, I'm working on Splunk, I'm working on Ichinga. You have to discuss about the architecture. The way how in the interview they ask about the Kubernetes architecture. Please explain what are the different components are. Similarly, they'll ask even in the monitoring system also, in Elasticsearch or in Splunk or in New Relic, anywhere they need to discuss about that. Clear, guys? So I'll be discussing about that. This would take me around 1.5 hours to complete this. And the next after April 20th, that is on Saturday, I will take even on April 21st also. 21st, that's on Sunday also. I will take it, guys. I will start with the installation. April 21st, same timing, evening 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. I will take what are the different components are there. Now you need to do installation, setup, and everything. That and all we will start doing it. And what I'll be doing, either I'll be using AWS cloud or else I'll be using Azure cloud to have a servers and to install all softwares required for it and to do all the setup, right? I have to have some cloud environment. I need to also, some cloud accounts I need to have. So is it clear, guys? So I hope that, guys, you understood today's session. So let me stop it. I don't want to really take anything further, but it's already too much theoretical which we have covered today. So any doubts you have, any questions, guys, you have? Till now, Harinder, Dipali, Rajat, Syed, Sonia, did you enjoy this session? Is it interesting? You're finding interesting or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay, guys, thank you all. Then let me stop this recording.
Thank you.